Hi, Miles and all CMF. How's your day? It was good, brother. How you doing, JP? How you been? Hey, Stormy, good to see you as well. How you doing? What's up, Miles? What's up, CMF? Kerry, good to see you as well. How you doing? How's everyone's day today? Dennis, good to see you as well. How you doing? Thanks so much to everyone that's retweeting this live show right now at the beginning of the live show. We do have quite a lot of news to go through on tonight's live show as well. A lot of mixed news to go through regarding the Ripple news to go through on tonight's live show, regarding the ETF situation in Hong Kong, regarding the SEC news on Ethereum, regarding BlackRock. Two news is regarding BlackRock. One to do with their ETF and one to do with their fund. We have news regarding Bitcoin Cash's founder getting arrested for tax evasion. We have other news to go through regarding Zimbabwe dollar, which has now been released, regarding the Zimbabwe dollar being backed by gold. So they're launching essentially a new currency. A lot of things to talk about. CZ to talk about as well. His prison sentencing has been done, and he did get away with a slap on the wrist, which is good. We have Coinbase news to go through on tonight's live show as well. We have the Fed reports coming out tomorrow, which will go through something, regarding that matter that's going to be happening tomorrow. We have regarding Congress to go through as well. The SEC misleading Congress up to a certain extent regarding Ethereum's status a long time ago. And also regarding Peter to go through his predictions on what he thought, essentially what he thinks Bitcoin is going to go to again. And a lot more, regarding Michael Slayer, so what he thinks on Bitcoin being the only ETF to ever be approved, and that is all, is what he thinks. So quite a mixed portion of news to go through on tonight's live show as well. On the CMF. So, let's go through the comment section. Good, thanks. Let's go, JP. Good evening, Professor Miles and CMF students. Funky brother, good to see you. How you doing? What's up, brother Miles? How are you? I'm doing great. Billo, how you doing? CMF, let's go. What we got for news today? Quite a lot of news to go through. A lot of mixed portion of news to go through. Denise, good to see you. How you doing? Bleedy. The news is, the market is bleeding. Yes, slightly the market is bleeding, not majorly. Evening, Miles and CMF. Joe, good to see you. How you doing? Let's start with CZ. Yeah, we'll start with the CZ one. Hi, Miles and family. How was your day today? It was great, Mike. How's your day, brother? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Free and forever. Good to see you as well. How you doing? Okay, so before we start the live show, let me just say a disclaimer of this live show as well, just in case anybody's tuned in for the first time ever. Hello, Miles and CMF. Coin, good to see you as well. How you doing? Camel, good to see you as well. How you doing? Perfect timing. So, if you are new, you're watching this live show for the first time ever, this is called the CMF live show, where we discuss what's happening around the world inside the blockchain space and how we're shifting into a digital world. We talk about cryptocurrencies, blockchain in general, CBDCs, and we talk about politics because it all relates into one. And the disclaimer of this live show, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. This is episode 43 of the CMF live show. If you're watching this for the first time ever, welcome to the CMF live show. If you're regular, let's go CMF. And we also do Q&As as well, which means if you have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. So, as I said, we have a lot of news to go through, and we'll go through the CZ news first, because it was requested to go through it first. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Dave, good to see you as well. How you doing? David, good to see you as well. How you doing? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Let's go. Perfect timing, because we're about to go through the first news of tonight's live show. And the first news we're going to go through is CZ's news. So, CZ got off very easy, which is good, because, they took everything away from him. So there was nothing less. So, CZ, 4 months prison sentence, lighter than expected. CZ, the former CEO of crypto exchange Binance, has been sentenced to 4 months in prison, ahead of his sentencing on April 30th. CZ, the former CEO of Binance, made a heartfelt plea for forgiveness and a second chance. In a letter submitted to the courts on April 24th, CZ expressed profound regret for his actions, acknowledging his poor decisions and accepting full responsibility. He wrote, This is what CZ said, word for word. I apologize for my poor decisions and accept full responsibility. Rest assured that this will never happen again. Please accept my assurance that this will be the only counter with the criminal justice system. Looking for an opportunity to mend his ways. In his plea to authorities, CZ recognized that he should have implemented compliance changes at Binance much earlier in his exchange history. However, he emphasized that under his leadership, the exchange eventually introduced strict controls to essentially rectify the situation, but it was a bit too late at that time. CZ underscored that he voluntarily surrendered and took responsibility in this case, hoping to resolve the matter and start a new one. Not only that, he also painted a picture of an unconventional career path for himself, where he lived a modest life, even returning investor money after some of his businesses had failed in the past. He then went on to highlight his altruistic motivations from the day he entered crypto, claiming his involvements with this space stemmed from a desire to promote in exclusivity and equal opportunity, adding from education programs in Africa to improving the living standards of disadvantaged youths in South Asia to university projects in Europe. I intended to devote the majority of my time and resources to this era, developing projects in as many places as possible without limited to the above example. Over 160 of CZ's loved ones, friends, and colleagues recently wrote to Washington judge presiding over his case, pleading for his leniency and providing a glimpse into the former CEO's personal life. The letters collectively discredited CZ as a devoted family man, a loyal friend, and a humble tech enthusiast who was under the trappings of wealth and luxury despite his staggering financial success. Prosecutors wanted to punish CZ for his unprecedented crimes. In the months leading up to his sentencings, left no stone unturned in their quest to ensure that CZ faced severe consequences for his actions regarding Binance. In a scathing sentence memorandum, they portrayed the former Binance CEO as a brazen lawbreaker who operated with blunt disregard for law and regulatory frameworks. The memorandum painted a damning picture of CZ's actions, accusing him of willfully failing to implement an effective anti-money laundering program as mandated by the Bank Secrecy Act. This failure, the prosecutors argued, and enabled Binance to process a staggering volume of transactions tied to illicit activities, including proceeds with narcotics, trafficking, T activities, sanction evasions, S crimes, and ransom attacks, all through Binance. Prosecutors highlighted Binance's failure to report well over 100,000 suspicious transactions linked to those illicit activities, underscoring the exchange's role as a hub for financial crime, unprecedented scale. The documents further accused CZ of exhibiting a deliberate disregard for Binance's legal responsibilities, portraying him essentially as a calculating opportunist who prioritized profit over compliance. With their recommendations of 36 months prison term, twice as long as the recommended federal maximum of 18 months, prosecutors made it essentially clear their determination to see CZ face severe consequences for his unprecedented crimes. The judge did not appear to be on the same mind, stating that there was no evidence CZ was ever informed of the illicit activities at the exchange. A fallen titan. When CZ faced the judge's gavel on April 30th, the crypto world held its collective breath. Once hailed as a visionary and a pioneer, the former Binance CEO has now been found himself at the center of a legal situation. While the charges against CZ pale in comparison to those levied essentially against his former competitor, Sam Beckman-Fried of FTX, who recently received a 25-year sentence, the consequences for crypto industry could be far-reaching. CZ's case has shed a bright light on the industry's lack of regulatory oversight and compliance, raising serious questions about the integrity of the entire crypto ecosystem. Some market observers noted that this sentencing, despite its lightness, could have consequences for the crypto business compliance efforts in the future. Others seem eager to move beyond the legal proceedings, which have cast a cloud over the exchange and the crypto bull run that saw Bitcoin break an all-time high earlier this year. One observer stated, "Can we price this in and get the bull run underway already? it would appear that CZ's case is not the end of a high-profile crypto case in 2024. Today, earlier on, Bitcoin adapter Roger was arrested in Spain on charges of mail fraud and tax evasion. In the US, authorities reported plan to extradite him back to the United States. Now, that is true, and we'll get to that on tonight's live show regarding Roger. That is very true. Since CZ sentencing has went forward, and he's got three, not that long, which is good. I mean, it was literally a slap on the wrist for CZ. I mean, in my opinion, he didn't deserve a sentencing at all. There's a lot more people who have caused a lot more damage in this world by a much more larger scale and got away with everything. And I don't think it's fair of essentially what happened to ZZ in any sort of a way. Yes, he did do some things without having the proper documentations. But again, there's a lot of people in this world who get away with a lot more than they should because they're politicians or their parents are very high-profile politicians. Sleepy Joe and his son, for example. But we'll leave that for another day. But yeah, that's exactly what happens to CZ, where the prosecutors are trying to pin CZ as this, incredible scam artist, while the judge didn't see it that way, and that's why he got that low sentencing moving forward. But yeah, honestly, CZ didn't deserve what came to him. America just wanted Binance in full control of themselves, which they got at the end, to be fairly enough. I mean, they got full control of Binance. There are a lot of US entities, US government members inside of Binance right now. And they kicked out CZ. They replaced the CEOs of the normal Binance and the Binance US. I mean, they took full control of Binance, and that's what they wanted at the end of the day, and they got it. And now the new target is the guy that created Bitcoin Cash. The guy that created Bitcoin Cash has now been arrested in Spain, is going to be extradited back to the United States. So FTX, Sam Beckman is in the past now. CZ is technically in the past now. And the new target for the US prosecutors is the person that created Bitcoin Cash. He's just been arrested in Spain. Is going to be extradited back to the United States. They still haven't got their hands on Do Kwon. Do Kwon is still in the wind. But yeah, the new target is the BitCash founder. Now, before we go to the next news, let's go for the comment section. So brother, let's go. So news today. A lot of news. Denise, good to see you. How you doing? Marcus Bleeding. Yes. Joe, good to see you. How you doing? Let's start with CZ. Yep, done. Mike, good to see you. How you doing? Freedom Forever, good to see you. How you doing? Evening. Coin, good to see you as well. JP, hi to everyone on YouTube. Let's go. Hi, Big Bro. Camel, good to see you. How you doing? Deep, good to see you. How you doing? David, good to see you. How you doing? Shelly, morning, good to see you. How you doing? Evening. Pure, good to see you. How you doing? Glad the market dipped, allowed me to reach my XRP bag goal. I'm buying XRP to retire friends now. Let's go, Stormy. Stormy's balling now. Good evening, Miles and family. Hope you're all well. Let's go, Ian. I'm doing great. How you doing, brother? What up, though, Miles and CMF? Ray, good to see you as well. How you doing? Hi, Miles and CMF. Troy, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening, Miles and CMF. Jason, good to see you as well. How you doing? Wouldn't all the countries in the world, in effect, be dumping the US dollar, as there would be no use for it once they start using XRP for cross-border transactions? No, definitely not. Regarding the basis of, good question, Joe. So Joe's question inside the comment section right now is, wouldn't all the countries in the world, in effect, be dumping the US dollar, as there would be no more use for it once they start using XRP for cross-border transactions? No. There's always going to be a use for the US dollar. All countries in the world are not going to be dumping the US dollar in any sort of a way. Sorry, I was reading the comment section at the same time when I was answering the question. But no, there's going to be, regarding countries dropping the US dollar, no, they wouldn't drop the US dollar. There's always going to be a use for the US dollar. And let me just put into perspective for you. For example, Saudi Arabia has a budget where they would use this budget to build 11 projects they're doing right now. So Saudi Arabia is doing the line, and they're doing some multiple other, massive projects that they're building on their own land. And they're all, one's in the middle of the desert, one's the line that they're doing. Everyone's seen the line news that they're building this eco-friendly city and so on, where essentially their budget is slowly coming to an end and they're running out of money, Saudi Arabia. And it's because Saudi Arabia has started to slowly move away from oil, which isn't great for them because that is their main income source. And I don't know who thought in Saudi Arabia was a good idea to start moving away from oil. But anyways, nevertheless, their budget started to come to a halt, and then now they need more money. And the same US dollars that Saudi Arabia was, against using is going to be the same US dollar that saves Saudi Arabia. That's just how it operates essentially. So no, regarding, there's going to be no more use for the US dollar. There's always going to be a use for the US dollar. Think of it like this: the number one currency in traditional finance is the US dollar. The number one dominant currency is the US dollar. Also, in a digital perspective, the number one currency as a stable coin is the US dollar. So there's always going to be a use case for the US dollar because the number one currency in crypto regarding stable coins, as I said previously, it's not the Russian ruble, it's not the Japanese yen or the Chinese yuan. It's the US dollar, USDT or USDC. So however you look at it, traditional aspects or digital aspects, the US dollar is still the dominant currency. So now, they're not going to be dumping it all over the place. And XRP is going to be used as a medium, but then again, that doesn't still mean they're going to be dropping the US dollar to zero. Messi, good to see you. How you do? Buy the blood is what Bilal was saying. Let's go, Stormy. Facts, Miles. Let's go, Ian. Hello, brother Miles. Did I miss any XRP news? No, we haven't went through the Ripple news yet. Geez, crypto OGs out here dropping like files. Let's go, Ray. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Talking to see as well. How you doing? What is your shares on when in the alt seasons will start? When the alt seasons will start? Well, we're slightly... Look, I would say this month has been quite volatile. A lot of things to weigh in on regarding this month's. We had the Ripple situation going on in this month. We had, which was essentially coming to an end now. I mean, we're on the 30th year. It's coming to an end now. So this month has been quite volatile. We've had the Ripple situation. We had the Bitcoin halving situation. We had so many ETF news. And also we had the Hong Kong news, which caused some volatility in the market as well. Not on the upside, on the downside. And I did say the Hong Kong ETFs need at least 2 weeks, to materialize before they move forward. However, I would still say this entire year is going to be good. This entire year is going to be good. And that we're going to be seeing a lot of upside this year and next year and the year after that and the year after that. Now, let me just put in perspective. I don't mean all projects in any sort of a way. I only mean projects that have utility purposes because we're shifting into utility. And as I've said previously, day by day, we're seeing more institutions, more banks, more regulations. Some countries tightening their regulations, more licensings happening. And they're essentially heading towards projects that have utility purposes. An example I could give is, for example, AVAX. I mean, AVAX essentially, Citibank is using AVAX on Subnet Green. Recently, that was as well. JP Morgan, that was recently as well this year regarding Subnet Green on AVAX as well. And then we also have Chainlink as well regarding that Swift. They're still coming out with progress and updates. We have Ripple, news to go through as well that happened yesterday, essentially night, regarding SBI Holdings and Hashkey and so on. And day by day, we're getting more ETFs, even though, the Hong Kong ETF wasn't drastic movements. And I did say, again, it's going to take 2 weeks at least for the Hong Kong ETFs to materialize before they move forward. Same scenario with the ETFs that were launched inside the United States. They took about 2 weeks before they get materialized and move forward. But yeah, in general, we're going to be going up and up and up and up on legitimate projects, not zoo tokens in any sort of a way. Good evening, Miles and CMF. So we're not that far off to an actual start, in other words, is what I'm trying to say. Miles, is good to see your audience are talking to each other and wishing well. Let's give funky brother. This is the type of community you have created. Well done, Miles. Well done to the CMF. Not me. Good morning and good evening, Miles, and let's go. Orphan, good to see you. How you doing? XRP is not made to replace the dollar, it's a bridge currency. Exactly. Miles, have I missed something on why XLM is not making any moves? It will make moves soon. Can we look forward to the UK version of Section 702? Can we look forward to a UK version of Section 702? I hope we don't look forward to a Section 702, but are we going to get a similar version? Yes, we're most likely going to get a similar version. And if you're wondering what is Section 702 and you're watching this for the first time ever, it's basically an act that was reauthorized at the exact same time of the Bitcoin halving inside the United States, where the United States government can now spy on everybody with no warrants needed any sort of a way. 24/7 spying on everyone. Every single tech firm inside the US is now turned into a spyware to spy on the people, according to Act Section 702 inside the United States. So Joe is essentially asking, can we get something? Are we going to get something similar to that inside the United Kingdom? Most likely. Miles, in the last 6 months, I've swept so much blood of the markets that I feel like Dracula. Can't wait now for the bull run to start. Will CZ do 4 months or a half? The sentence has he would in the United States. No, he will do what was announced, essentially. Buy the dip now. Utility is what Dave is saying. Let's go. Now, the Ripple needs to go from tonight's live show, which was this one, the SBI Holdings, which is great news, honestly. But, we did know about Ripple and SBI for a while now because they had the subsidiary, Ripple and SBI subsidiary. But this is good as well. Ripple signs SBI Hashkey to launch XRP in Japan. SBI Group is set to become the first Japanese corporation to implement XRP Ledger blockchain solutions for supply chain management. The alliance comes as Ripple expands the use of enterprise blockchain solutions in Japan. Separately, Ripple has teamed up with the Tokyo-based consulting firm Hashkey DX to lead the rollout of the XRP Ledger. Enterprise solutions in Japan. The partnership will also involve SBI Ripple Asia, a joint venture between SBI Holdings and Ripple, which will focus on essentially deploying supply chain finance solutions using the XRP ledger. Andy Dan, head of Hashkey DX, said, this is what he said, word for word. The XRP ledger was the ideal blockchain infrastructure for us to build on, essentially on proving our supply chain finance solutions. We are confident in our ability to drive meaningful transformation and introduce innovative, cutting-edge solutions for businesses in Japan. Hashkey Group, the parent company of Hashkey DEX, boasts essentially a solid track record of implementing blockchain projects, especially in mainland China. Since 2019, the group has developed blockchain-powered supply chain finance solutions that are now being used by over 4,000 registered companies, including 23 banks and 4,300 suppliers. These solutions have supported over $7 billion in trade and financed nearly $3 billion in transactions. At Paris Blockchain Week, Ripple X Marcus talked about the huge potential blockchain tech has in traditional finance sectors. He mentioned that these institutions get more involved, tokenized markets could skyrocket to over $16 trillion in value. What's interesting is that they're not just sticking to the usual centralized networks as key players, but are also diving into decentralized platforms like the XRP Ledger, Stellar, and Ethereum to put financial assets on the blockchain. Infurgo also mentioned that advanced discussions are ongoing with various financial institutions introduced in launching tokenization projects on the XRP ledger, with the use case and distribution strategies already being defined. Amazing still. Absolutely amazing. Lost the sound? Okay, now. We're back. So that's what's happening regarding Ripple Labs and SBI Holdings and Hashkey. And those were the words that were mentioned by essentially Hashkey's CEO on what he thinks. And a long time ago, not long time, well, last year, we talked about what countries do we think we're going to be first, on launching with the XRP Ledger first on the CMF live show. We talked about which countries does everybody think is going to be the first country to launch regarding the XRP Ledger. And the CMF, the majority of the CMF said Japan will be the first country to launch regarding the XRP Ledger. Looks like the CMF was right. The majority of the CMF, I remember I did a vote inside the comment sections of what everybody thinks is going to be the first country to launch regarding the XRP Ledger. And the majority of the CMF said Japan. Some people said Singapore, some people said Hong Kong, some people said India, some people said Russia, but the majority said Japan. So good on you who chose Japan last year when I took this test, when I asked the question to the comment section. Now, second news to go from today's live show is this. SEC responds to Ripple's motion. So as we all know, obviously Ripple sent in their motion to get something stricken off the records. Now SEC has responded to this. SEC responds to Ripple's motion in XRP lawsuit, a breakdown. We're going to go through a breakdown. I mean, some people have talked about it in a vague aspect, but we're going to do a little breakdown, the gist of what's actually happening. In the ongoing legal saga between Ripple Labs and the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, over the status of XRP, a recent development has unfolded as the SEC responds to Ripple's motion concerning expert testimony. Let's delve into the intricacies essentially of this legal battle and unpack the latest arguments presented by both parties. Ripple Labs, the blockchain company behind the XRP cryptocurrency, recently filed a motion to strike the declaration of SEC summary witness Andrew Fox. Ripple contended that Fox's testimony constituted undisclosed experts analysis, varying beyond mere summarization of financial records. However, the SEC has countered Ripple's motion, asserting that Fox's declaration falls within the realm of standard summary evidence permissionless under federal law. According to the SEC's, Fox's role is to streamline complex financial data, essentially on calculations for the court's considerations, without offering expert opinions or specialized knowledge. Contrary to Ripple's claims, the SEC emphasizes that Fox's declaration does not involve interpretation of a judgment on financial records, but rather presents straightforward calculations based on Ripple's financial documents. The Commission highlights that Fox's work aims to assist the court by simplifying financial information without offering expert analysts. Addressing Ripple's essentially challenges, the SEC clarifies that Fox's role as a summary witness does not necessitate disclosure as an expert witness under federal law of civil procedures 26A2. Unlike expert witnesses who provide specialized knowledge, Fox's contribution relies solely on summarizing data without offering expert opinions. Moreover, the SEC rebukes that Ripple's allegations that Fox's work is based on assumptions derived from Ripple's financial records. According to the SEC, it is customary for the summary witness to make reasonable assumptions when essentially reviewing extensive data, as long as these assumptions are disclosed and grounded in the data being summarized. In a very simple matter, essentially, is the SEC, just like always, overextended their reach. In simple words, the SEC overextended their reach, and just like always they do in every single case, they over-exaggerated something, and Ripple wants the over-exaggeration to pretty much go away. In a very simple matter. In a simple way to explain it, legal experts weigh in on the significance of these developments, noting that regardless of the outcome of this motion, the SEC arguments shed light on the distinctions between summary evidence and expert testimonies in the context of XRP lawsuit. The case continues to draw attention from the cryptocurrency community and legal observers alike, as it negatives through the procedure hurdles and substantive essentially arguments. Ripple, a blockchain company, had sought to essentially go against Fox's declaration, alleging that it constitutes undisclosed expert testimony. However, the SEC contends that Fox's testimony falls within the bounds of standard summary evidence permitted under Federal Rule of Evidence 1006. According to the SEC, Fox's declaration aims to simplify complex financial data from Ripple's records for the court's understandings without delving into expert analysis. Contrary to Ripple's assertions, the SEC emphasizes that Fox's role does not involve rendering expertise, does not involve expert opinions or rely on specialized expertise. Instead, her declaration provides straightforward algorithmic calculations based on Ripple's financial records with no subjective judgments applied. So the SEC is essentially saying that what Fox has inputted inside the documentations is what Ripple is doing technically. But Ripple's saying, no, we're not. That's essentially just based on assumptions and not really backed by any sort of evidence. I mean, we can see that. The SEC never uses evidence. I mean, if they did use evidence, they would have never lied in the debit box case. As the legal battles between Ripple and the SEC unfolds, stakeholders closely monitor the proceedings for insights into the regulatory landscape surrounding cryptocurrencies. This outcome of this case could be far-reaching implications for the classifications of digital assets and the enforcement of security laws in a rapidly evolving crypto industry. In conclusion, the latest response from the SEC to Ripple's motion marks another chapter in the ongoing legal dispute over XRP regulatory status, with both parties presenting their arguments before the court, and the outcome of this case remains uncertain, leaving cryptocurrency community eagerly waiting for further developments in this high-profile legal showdown. In very, very simple terms, the SEC wanted to include what Fox essentially said regarding the sales and sales records. However, the Ripple Labs, essentially Ripple is saying that it's too late and they're all just based on assumptions, not really backed by any sort of evidence. The SEC, on the other hand, saying nope, it is actually we can put some things inside the case backed on assumptions. So the final judgment comes to the judge. If the judge says essentially that this is more than just the assumptions, this is more of an attack towards Ripple, then we're going to strike it off. If it's just based on assumptions under the Act of the Federal Law of 1006, then we'll include it in the case. Now, the good thing is the judge for this case is Netburn, if I'm not mistaken. Netburn is not a big fan of the SEC, and so far neither is anybody else, to be fair. And we'll go through what I mean by neither is nobody else, because even Congress has essentially went against the SEC today as well. Congress McHenry has came out and said that the SEC has lied to us again and again and again and misrepresented the agency as well to us, essentially. So even Congress is against SEC. The CFTC is against the SEC. Some judges are against the SEC because of what Gary Gensler said on live news. The judge's opinion doesn't matter. Only my opinion matters. And I said this. The funny part is when the SEC, when Gary Gensler was, asked about the case, and he said the judge's opinion doesn't matter. My opinion matters. Is when we had the first resolution of the Ripple versus SEC case. Ironically, Gary Gensler comes out on live news and goes, "The judge's opinion doesn't matter. My opinion matters." And then we had the first resolution of Ripple versus SEC. Nobody's fond of Gary Gensler. Not the judges, not Congress, not the CFTC. I don't even think, Gary Gensler is a fond of himself either. But let's get through the comment section before we go through the next part of this live show. We have so much news still to cover. The next news we're going to be talking about is regarding Bitcoin Cash founder who's been arrested. Now, let's go Japan. Let's go. Japan in 2025 using some people, which... Hi, Bowser CMF. Good to see you as well, Kane. How you doing? When is crypto summer coming? I'm feeling cold, lol. Well, these are the last times you're going to be seeing these cheap prices, so you might want to be packing your bags. XRP Ledger can help this Japan economic crisis. Japan is one of the reasons why this market is spread, which is a fair point. Miles, can you explain what the quantum financial system means? Is just a crossing over two digital using XRP and XLM, or is it something different from quantum computing? I'm confused between the two. Yes, quantum financials essentially is the parable between payments. However, please be careful. There is also and quantum computing is completely different. Quantum computing is different. Quantum financial system is different. Quantum financial system is actually the projects that could be mediums between these transactions, and the quantum computing is essentially that's going to help blockchain advance and AI advance as well. Two different separate things. Now, what I want to point out as well, please be careful. There's a lot of scams regarding quantum financial systems. There's a lot of scams out there where some people are claiming that you have to sign up for your QFS wallet or quantum financial system wallets. Don't do that. That's a scam. There's no such thing as a QFS wallet. If anybody comes to you inside the crypto space and tells you to push your crypto assets or connect your crypto assets to a QFS wallet, that is a scam. There's no such thing as a QFS wallet. Your Tangent is technically your cold storage wallet or your Ledger or your Trezor or whatever else you have. A QFS wallet, there's no such thing. So please be careful about that too. Hi, Miles, the CMF family. KDC, good to see you as well. How you doing? So, that is regarding that. Now, Bitcoin Cash, the new topic. So we have FTX Sam Beckman behind bars, CZ behind bars, and now we have Bitcoin Cash founder. Bitcoin Cash founder Roger Ver arrested in Spain for tax evasion. Bitcoin investor Roger Ver, indicted, reveals alleged $48 million IRS loss. Roger Ver, the founder of Bitcoin Cash and a public figure known as Bitcoin Jesus, was arrested in Spain on charges of mail fraud, tax evasion, and filing false tax returns. Ver is facing extradition to the United States to stand trial. According to the US Department of Justice, the DOJ, the indictment was unsealed yesterday and accuses Ver of essentially engaging in fraudulent activities related to his companies and personal BTC holdings. Ver's indictment details his alleged misconduct starting in 2021, involving his companies MemoryDealers.com Inc. and Orgistar Inc. as well. The charges state that after renouncing his US citizenship in 2014, Ver failed to report capital gains and pay the required exit tax on his substantial Bitcoin assets. By 2014, Ver and his companies reportedly owned 131,000 individual Bitcoins, valued at approximately $871 million each. Essentially, at that time, not million, at that time, each valued at $871 at that time, each Bitcoin. 2014 times. The incident further alleges that Ver provided false information to the law firm and appraisers, leading to the filings of a tax returns that undervalued his companies and optimised his personal Bitcoin ownerships in 2017. Ver alleged sold around 70,000 Bitcoins for approximately $240 million without reporting the gains or paying taxes on them. The IRS claims that a loss of at least $48 million due to Ver's actions. Stuart M. Goldberg of the Justice Department Tax Division and U.S. Attorney Morton announced the charges with the IRS Criminal Investigations Cybercrimes Unit handling the investigation. The case is being prosecuted by Assistant Chief Matthew J. Clues, Trial Attorney Peter J. Anthony, and Assistant U.S. Attorney James C. Hugh. A lot of people from the US Department are getting involved in this, and it looks like everybody wants a piece of the pie of that $48 million. So Bitcoin's Bitcoin Cash founder, the Bitcoin Cash founder, has now been arrested. Let's say, for example, he's been arrested in some sort of a way, and is going to be extradited back to the US essentially for tax evasion. He denounced his US citizenship to get away from taxes and essentially live somewhere else. So after, giving up his US citizenship, going to another country to start a whole new life, he skipped on taxes inside the US beforehand. And now he has to cough up $48 million. Now, for somebody like him, $48 million is not a lot of money. The issue is, are they going to give him a prison sentence, or is it just $48 million? But he's essentially now the new target of the US government to essentially squeeze some money out of inside the crypto space. Now, yeah, it comes up on my For You page. I wasn't going to do anything, but just wondered what it was. Yeah. The QFS scam is a big on Telegram. Be careful of anybody randomly messaging you about for sure, though. Yes, definitely. Miles, can you ask Kerry to check the mods group, please? Kerry, check the mods group. Kerry, if you're watching this live show right now, check the mods group. Physical version. The next news to go from tonight's live show is this. Physical version of the gold-backed token replaces Zimbabwe dollar. Zimbabwe has launched a gold-backed token that's going to be replacing the Zimbabwe dollar. Not good for the US dollar. And also the International Monetary Fund didn't like this plan, but Zimbabwe still went ahead with it. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe has introduced Zimbabwe Gold, or the ZIG is what they're calling it, ZIG, in paper and coin form. Following the new currency's debt, essentially as a digital payment method in October, it replaces the Zimbabwean dollar and is backed by a basket of gold and foreign currencies. The central bank began distributing the physical currency on April 29th, and all of the country's lenders and a supply of it by the end of that day, according to Bloomberg. The launch of ZIG was announced on April 5th, set to exchange rate of 13.56 ZIG to a US dollar. Digital trading in the ZIG began on April 2nd, although it was first introduced in October at a rate tied to the price of gold. The transition to the new currency caused havoc on the local stock market. Businesses will be required to pay at least 50% of their taxes in ZiG. The central bank set its interest rate at 20% with the introduction of the new currency, down from the world high of 130%. Central Bank Governor John, who took office on March 20th, said that the inflation rate in Zimbabwe should fall from 55% to 2% annually, thanks to the new, more stable currency. Currently, more than 80% of the transactions in the country are conducted using the US dollars, while the Zimbabwe dollar had lost almost 75% of its value year on. The ZiG is backed by 2.5 tons of gold and $100 million in foreign currency reserves for the total value of $285 million. That sum in 3 times value of the ZiG being issued according to their governors. And this is what they said, word for word, which I think is great. What essentially they've launched is absolutely great. We want a solid and stable national currency in this country. It does not help to print money. Certainly, under my watch, it is not going to happen. Zimbabwe is ranked 3rd in Africa for cryptocurrency use in 2023. The International Monetary Fund opposed the introduction of a gold-backed currency after the plan for the ZiG was announced in April 2023. Obviously, the International Monetary Fund is not a big fond of any country moving away from the US dollar. We've seen that essentially with El Salvador as well. The International Monetary Fund tried to bribe El Salvador. So the International Monetary Fund went to El Salvador and said, look, we know your country is struggling and we'll give you a loan. And the loan that you already, owe us the money on, the debts, we'll work something out. Just drop Bitcoin from your country, drop it as a legal tender, and stop bringing out regulations for Bitcoin, is what they said to El Salvador. The International Monetary Fund tried to bribe El Salvador to get away from Bitcoin and stop, using it as legal tender. And El Salvador, essentially president, which, very interesting person, I would have to say, in a very simple term, told the International Monetary Fund to stick their offer where the sun don't shine. In a very simple way, he told the International Monetary Fund to stick their offer where the sun don't shine. So obviously the International Monetary Fund is not too happy about that. But now we also had the International Monetary Fund going against Zimbabwe for introducing a gold-backed token, which is actually going to be helping out their economy moving forward. But in the eyes of the International Monetary Fund, it's bad. Why it's bad? Because then they can't control Zimbabwe. That's why it's bad. And if they can't control Zimbabwe, they can't have access to Zimbabwe's resources. If they can't have access to Zimbabwe's resources, that's not great for the International Monetary Fund or the United States. But good on Zimbabwe for doing this. Miles, any news on Fetch and Ocean? No news on Fetch and Ocean so far. We do know that they're doing that innovation situation. And they're doing that innovation situation regarding Fetch AI and Ocean and AJX, which hasn't still progressed forward yet, but we'll do it. They're going to be doing it around May 25th is what they announced. May 25th, we're going to have that new super AI token going about. The mix between Fetch AI, AJX, and Ocean. Now, moving on to the next news of tonight's live show, which is this one. Coinbase. Coinbase has announced Bitcoin Lightning Network support. Again, Coinbase has introduced support for the Lightning Network, enhancing the speed and reducing the cost of Bitcoin transactions for its users. This development, announced on April 30th, 2024, follows the trend of the exchanges like Bitfinex, Kraken, and Binance, which have essentially already adapted to the technology. The Lightning Network, a layer 2 protocol, operates on the top of the Bitcoin's blockchain and facilitates instant low-cost payments. Technical and fee structure details. Integration of Coinbase enables transactions to commit the regular on-chain transactions that are slow and costly, especially during busy times. The Lightning Network promises transactions to be completed in seconds, with a far fewer fees than ever before. Starting today, people could slowly enjoy enjoy instant payments and lower cost on BTC transfers through Coinbase. The original setup of Coinbase was that 0.1% fee would be charged for the Lightning Network and sent with a limit of $2,000 for each transaction. This conservative threshold is designed to guarantee that the payment success rate is high, and it may vary depending on the amount of the payment as well. Partnership with Lightspark. For the integration, Coinbase joined forces with Lightspark, a company founded by David Marcus, an ex-executive of PayPal and Meta. This collaboration uses Lightspark's knowledge of liquidity management and transactions routing the Lightning Network. It aims to improve customer experience through the provision of fast and affordable transactions, essentially moving forward. Through the Lightning Network, Capabilities has recently added that there are no immediate plans to include this feature in Coinbase Wallet so far or other Coinbase commerce services. The company will test the adoption and performance of the Lightning Network among its users in future rollouts. Okay, I'm just going to go to the comment section now because somebody's... Mouse, can you currently unmute Joe, please? There was a technical difficulty in my pocket. Joe? Where was Joe? His last comment. Let me see where Joe's last comment was. The issue is, I think because you accidentally, so somebody accidentally muted Joe, one of the mods accidentally muted Joe, and because he's accidentally muted, all of his comments have been removed. So I can't even see Joe. Here we go. Joe Morrison. I can't unmute him either. Put user on timeout, add to block list, block user. He's not muted. Joe's not muted. Joe is not muted inside the comment section. Let's keep it respectful, guys. No, Joe's not muted. That's a bit odd. He's not muted on my side. Joe, if you're watching this, close your YouTube app, reopen it, and see if it works, if you could comment. Does it say you're muted? Because you're not muted on my side. Send a screenshot to the Telegram of the mods group. So send a screenshot of what it says on your side to the CMF mods group. Because Joe, you're not muted on my side. Yeah, you're not muted on my side, Joe. So it's very odd. But close your app, come back in, see if it works. Otherwise, he might have to go to X to watch today. Apologies, Joe. Yeah, Joe, if YouTube isn't working, jump on X because we're live on both of them. We're live on YouTube and he's muted for me, Miles. He's muted for you. He's not muted on my side. He's not muted on my side. Okay, 1 second, Joe. Let's try to figure this one out. Yeah, I can't because there's no mute. There's not muted on my side. He might have gone to sleep anyways. No. Yeah. Yeah, he's not muted on my side. Who muted Joe by accident? Yeah, he's not muted on my side. He is gone, I guess. Yeah, I think he's gone. I hope he's still in. He can log out of YouTube and then log back in. Yeah, Joe, I would suggest send you a message on Telegram, Joe. Joe, check out the mods on Telegram. I love watching you work. Well, okay, let's go back to the news. Joe, I do apologize. At the end of the live show, we'll try to figure out something for you as well. But in the meantime, join on X because we're live on YouTube and X at the exact same time, Joe. Kerry did. His phone was in his pocket while he was mowing. Okay. Kerry, please be careful with your phone next time in case you do meet the whole chat. Be careful with when you have when the live shows going on, just in case you click the wrong buttons. Let's continue. Yeah, we'll continue. Joe, tune on X for the time being. At the end of the live show, if you still can't communicate and you're still muted, we'll figure something out. The big day is tomorrow. So the next we're going to go from tonight's live show is this. The big day is tomorrow. What will the Fed's interest rates decisions be? What will Jerome Powell say after the decision? Here is the ball. The Fed's main message after tomorrow's rate decision will likely be that the policy needs more time. So tomorrow we do have the Fed rates coming out, which is definitely going to be impacting the crypto markets, the stock market, and any sort of markets out there. The Fed's main message after tomorrow's rate decision will likely be the policy needs more time. The next move will likely be a rate cut, and the board is in wait and see mode until the Fed gets a more clarity on inflation, according to the Bank of America's essentially economist. They also foresee a slowdown in quantitative tightening by lowering the upper limits on the monthly treasury redemptions from $60 billion to $30 billion. Reactions in interest rates and currencies are expected to be limited. We suspect Powell is comfortable pricing this year's essentially rate cuts in significantly, the economist said, and will likely find it difficult to hawk the market. Since the beginning of the year, the Fed's hopes of relieving economic pressures with lowering borrowing costs have faded. Inflation is on the rise again. And the economists essentially worry that the most persistent cause of price rises will become more difficult to mitigate. These are unwelcome surprises have led essentially a forecast that expects fewer rate cuts on the way, possibility towards the end of the year. Future markets largely predict that there will be no change in interest rates tomorrow in the upcoming meeting. The Federal Open Market Committee, FOMC, has kept the federal rates interest on the range of 5.25% to 5.50% since July 2023. So tomorrow we do have the Fed rates coming out, and if it's going to be good news, regarding the Feds, then the market should start to pick up. If it's going to be bad news, then the market will deep dive again. And if it's just going to be stable, so nothing, they come out and say we're pretty much moving on the same scale we were, then not much will affect the market space. So let's see what they come out with the Fed reports tomorrow. So everybody definitely watch out for the Fed reports. And we'll go through the Fed reports tomorrow as well. Now, US lawmakers. US lawmakers accuse SEC of misleading Congress. This is what I was talking about regarding nobody is in favor of Gary Gensler. Nobody likes Gary Gensler, not the CFTC, not even members of the SEC like Gary Gensler. The judges don't like Gary Gensler, and Congress doesn't like Gary Gensler either. For example, US lawmakers accuse SEC of misleading Congress. Cryptocurrency market continues to see significant developments, according to reports. The chairman of the United States House Financial Services Committee, Patrick McHenry, has accused the Securities and Exchange Commission SEC chairman Gary Gensler of misleading Congress regarding his claims about classifying Ethereum as a security. So apparently, Gary Gensler did essentially have on his footnotes, for example, that Ethereum technically is a security a long time ago. Now, why is that an issue? Is because a very long time ago, at the exact same time that the SEC, could have accused, on paper, they did write it down. So on paper, a very long time ago, the SEC did mention that Ethereum is a security, but they never mentioned it publicly. And at that time, Congress did ask Gary Gensler multiple times, is Ethereum a security? Are you going to be going after Ethereum because of security? And Gary Gensler kept on dodging the questions. At the exact same time that in his own footnotes, he had written that technically Ethereum is, in his point of view, a security. So he lied to Congress at that time. It just came out now. Striking essentially statements on Ethereum. Representative Mick Henry claimed in a post dated April 30th that Gary Gensler, deliberately misled lawmakers during his testimony before the committee. The US lawmaker referred to allegations recently submitted to the court by software development firm Consys, which sued the SEC on April 25th. Consys highlighted public incentives essentially in the SEC's approach to crypto assets, particularly Ethereum. In its initial complaint, essentially at the US Northern District of Texas court, unnamed parts of the file appeared in the court documents on April 29th, essentially indicating that the SEC had intentioned an investigation into Ethereum as a security in March 2023. In March 2023, Gary Gensler was supposed to be going after Ethereum because he presumed Ethereum is a security in March 2023, but he didn't. But he had that written on the documents that Ethereum is a possibility of a security and he's going to be going after it. Now, in March 2023, a little bit, around March 2023, Congress were asking Gary Gensler, is Ethereum a security? And he dodged the question multiple times. Whereas he could have said, yes, in my point of view it is, and we're going after it. But he didn't, and he lied to Congress. And lawmakers are not very happy with Gary Gensler right now because not has Gary Gensler lied about the debit boxes. Gary Gensler has been caught lying too many times, and this is not a good look for the SEC chairman. Gary Gensler lied about the debit box case when he lied to a judge, essentially. Well, not Gary Gensler, but the SEC lied to a judge and said, that they're moving around people's funds, they're trying to leave the country, they're using other people's money, and they froze a lot of bank accounts, and at the end they realized the SEC had no evidence, in very simple terms, and they had to reopen back everything up, and the two people that were, essentially the lawyers on that case had to leave the SEC. That was one, and that was under Gary Gensler because he's the chairman of the SEC. Even if he wasn't involved, it was under Gary Gensler's authorization, you could say. Then we had Gary Gensler lying to Congress, which already just came out. Then we had Gary Gensler, saying my opinion only matters, not the judges. So he has this reputation about him where it's just havoc back to back of either lying or misleading or, thinking his opinion is absolute gold and nobody else's opinion matters. This is not good for somebody who's the chairman of essentially the SEC. Gensler appeared before the House Financial Services Committee in April 2023, where he either answered or evaded direct questions from Mick Henry about whether Ethereum falls under the jurisdiction of the SEC or the Community Futures Trading Commission (CFTC). In March, he knew Ethereum was a security in 2023. In April, he was sitting in front of Congress, in front of lawmakers, and Mick Henry asked him, is it a security? He dodged the question. Are you going to be going after it? He dodged the question. But he knew his answers. So, jurisdiction of the SEC or the CFTC. The timing of his testimony suggests that the SEC may have already considered Ethereum as a security. Mick Henry made the following statement during the committee hearing. Clearly, an asset cannot be both a commodity and a security. I ask you, this is the question he was asked in April 2023. And Gary Gensler knew Ethereum as a security, in his point of view, in March 2023. In April 2023, he was asked by Mick Henry this exact question. Clearly, an asset cannot be both a commodity and a security. I ask you, is Ethereum a commodity or a security? And Gary Gensler dodged the question. Even though at that time, on his own documentations, he did technically write, in his point of view, is a security, but he didn't want to answer the question. Ethereum and ETF process, essentially. If the SEC is pursuing a path that could lead to essentially disagreements with the CFTC on Ethereum, it could have implications for approving or rejecting funds traded on US exchanges. For spot Ethereum, the SEC began approving investment vehicles linked to Ethereum futures in October 2023, and many experts anticipated the Commission will respond to the spot Ethereum ETF application in May. McHenry took this opportunity to encourage lawmakers to support the passage of the Financial Innovation and Technology Act for 21st century. The FIT 21 is what they're calling it, to establish clear rules between the CFTC and the SEC. The legislation was passed out of the committee in July 2023 and was presented for a full vote in the House. Good on him for taking this opportunity to go against Gary Gensler and pass a new law inside the crypto space, honestly. Now, before we go to the next news, let's go to the comment section, because the next news we're going to talk about is Peter. And Peter's made an interesting presumptions, let's say. So, Kerry did. His phone was in his pocket. Yep, let's continue. Yep, I did. How long is 1.8 seconds? If it's going to be good news, it's fake. If it's going to be good news, it's fake. Regarding the Fed reports, Joe has just said, no problem, you should be right for tomorrow, Joe. Okay. Good evening, Miles and all CMF. Joe, I do apologize regarding Kerry accidentally muting you in the chat. Do apologize for that. Good evening, Miles and all CMF. Iman, good to see you as well. How you doing? How's everyone doing today? I'm doing great, Iman. How you doing? Good, Peter Pan. Good, Peter Pan. Okay. Moving on to Peter's news. So, now Peter is a man who's been against cryptocurrencies, being against Bitcoin, has always said the Bitcoin bubble is going to burst and it's going to go to zero, is what Peter has always said. Now, Peter was the same man that had an opportunity to buy Bitcoin at around $30. When Bitcoin was sitting around $30 per coin, Peter had the opportunity to buy it, and he didn't. And ever since, he's been quite bitter on Bitcoin. And ever since, when Bitcoin went to $1,000, Peter said it's going to zero. When Bitcoin went to $5,000, he said it's going to zero. When Bitcoin went to $10,000, Peter said it's going to zero. Bitcoin went to 20, he said it's going to zero. Bitcoin went to 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, Peter said it's going to go to zero. At one point, Peter needs to give up. And it looks like he did. Because Peter is now not saying, essentially Bitcoin is going to go to zero. Now Peter is saying it's going to crash to 20,000. Peter predicts that Bitcoin price will crash to 20,000. Prominent Bitcoin D-trader Peter Sheffield, essentially recently took to X, social media network formerly known as Twitter, to predict that the price of Bitcoin, the largest cryptocurrency, will plunge back to $20,000 levels. The gold bug essentially argues that it will still be a high price for the leading cryptocurrency. In such a case, he estimates that businesses, intelligence companies like MicroStrategy, which is known as the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin, will have to face unrealized losses of $3.25 billion. Peter has also accused MicroStrategy, which owns a total of 214,400 Bitcoins, of manipulating the largest cryptocurrency. The gold bug's recent comment came after the price of Bitcoin slipped into a trajectory low of 60,000 after essentially a seemingly underwhelming debut of the cryptocurrency ETFs in Hong Kong. On Monday, MicroStrategy reported that its revenue of $115 million had fallen short of the predicted $121 million. The Virginia-based company also logged a net loss of $53.1 million. In the meantime, its operating expenses skyrocketed essentially to nearly $229 million. MicroStrategy was first invested in Bitcoin back in 2020, saw its shares surging by an impressive 71% on year-to basis. However, the stock is now down 16% today due to disappointment earnings reports and Bitcoin's underperformance. Despite the fact that Bitcoin has experienced a rollercoaster ride over the past few years, former MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor has not wavered his essentially convictions. During a recent interview with CNBC, he predicted that Bitcoin was going to eat gold, is what Michael Saylor said. He said Bitcoin is going to eat gold on price points moving forward, is what Michael Saylor said. Even though he said well, Bitcoin is down right now, it's still going to eat the gold. But, it's nice to see somebody like Peter getting humbled. I mean, think about it. Peter had an opportunity to buy Bitcoin at $30 per coin. He had an opportunity to buy Bitcoin at $30 per coin, and he didn't buy it. And ever since, he's became extremely bitter. And because Bitcoin went to 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000, 70,000, every time Bitcoin went higher and higher, Peter would pop out of nowhere with CNBC interviews and Bloomberg interviews and Forbes interviews. And every single time he would come out and say, it's going to zero. And it never did. But for the first time ever, Peters came out and said, it's not going to go to zero, but it's going to go to 20,000. Peter's a funny man. I don't know why they keep on inviting him. Every time Bitcoin reaches a new price point, one news journalist will invite Peter on and say, Peter, what do you think? And Peter will always come on and say, it's going to zero. That bubble is going to burst. And he always gets invited on these news channels. It's always the same conversation. Before we go to the next news, let's go to the comment section. The next news we're going to be going through is regarding Bitcoin is the only asset for an ETF. Bold predictions by MicroStrategy. Bitcoin is going to be the only ETF. Bold predictions. That's the next news we're going to be going through on tonight's live show after we go through the comment section. Good for Peter Pan. Good for Peter Pan. Yes, they do with that. If it's good, it's fake. Yep. Let's go CMF. YouTube tap. Let's go see him. His new name is Peter Pan. Lol. Hello, Miles in CMF and everyone on X and YouTube. I hope all guys. Let's go. Dazzle. Good to see you as well, brother. How you been? How you doing, Dazzle? BTC to 20,000 is crazy, and BS is what Bilo has just said. Is 10, 15, or 20 years, we might look back when XRP is at 100,000 tell-all kits. Yep, Peter the Field Mouse popping out of holes. He must be working with the SEC. Is he? Lol. Best buds with Gary? Probably regarding Peter. Just out of curiosity, if you're watching this for the first time ever as well, welcome to the CMF live show. We talk about what's happening around the world and regarding recent crypto news, political news, and CBDC news as well. But just out of curiosity, if you had a chance, let's say Bitcoin drops to 5,000, never gonna happen unless BlackRock, MicroStrategy, and everybody else dumps their bags. But if Bitcoin dropped to 5,000, would anyone buy it? Yes or no? Just out of curiosity. If Bitcoin dropped to 5,000 tomorrow, would anyone buy it? Or next week? Just out of curiosity. He must be working. Hey Miles, how you doing? Any news on XRP? Yes, the first news we went through was regarding SBI Holdings and essentially Ripple Labs. Again, that's not going to happen. Regarding Bitcoin going to 5,000, it's not going to happen. Just a random question based on what Peter was keep on saying. Yes, Vibe said, yep, she'll go for it. Dennis said, yes, he'll go for Bitcoin if it drops to 5,000. Abel said, no. Emon said, I'll put every penny into it. JP says, no, I'll buy $5,000 worth of XRP. That's a smart move because if Bitcoin goes to 5,000, imagine what happens to the rest of the market. Yes, Vibe says, anybody who hoping for market crash or BTC to 10,000 is people who didn't believe in crypto and now they're hoping the market crash so they can buy in cheaper, which is also facts, what Chill Zones has just said. That's why everybody makes fun of somebody like Peter, which facts, honestly, what CoinZone just said. Michael Saylor needs to stop comparing BTC to gold. BTC is only 21 supply, but gold supply is infinity, which is facts as well. Absolutely, I will buy some Satoshi. Let's go, Thomas. If it's going back up, yes, it's definitely going to go. If Bitcoin goes to 5,000, it's going to last for 5 seconds. I'm telling you right now. If Bitcoin drops to 5,000, it will last 5 seconds before it goes back up. If it ever does, which it never won't be. I mean, the chance of that manipulation happening, too high. I mean, too low for that manipulation to be happening. I will never buy BTC unless I had enough money to buy a full BTC or more, then no matter of the price. Let's go. Peter the Cuckoo. Peter the Cuckoo, never. Yes, but I wouldn't sell my XRP to buy it. Hello, Miles, the CMF. Scott, good to see you as well. How you doing, brother? How you been? I know the XRP news, please recap. Yes, Joe's, I'll definitely do a recap of the XRP news. At the end of the live show, I'll do a recap of everything we talked about. No problem. I don't like to, just in case anybody else tuned in late as well. I don't like BTC, overrated. Only go for XRP, XLM, and ACH, is what Bill said. Miles, how is your family, you, and your business? My business is very well. Thanks so much for asking, Scott. My family's doing very well as well. How are you doing? My day went well. Let's go, Scott. You know how many millions of dollars are waiting at 30,000, 40,000? There is no way we see BTC on the 30,000, which is true as well, which is also facts. Do you know how many? I've explained that as well before. There are so many orders that are going to be fulfilled within seconds. This is why I say if Bitcoin ever goes to 5,000 or a drastic drop, it will last 5 seconds before it goes back up. Mystic opinions. We'll go for at the end of the live show again. If it drops that far, I think I'll stick with my ISO bags. Yes, fair point, Shelly. Yes, 5,000 BTC is a dream price. Yeah, if BTC dropped that low, I'd be getting more XRP at whatever price it is at that point, which is a fair point. I want XDC but in my country you can't buy, so never mind. I'll go for XRP then. Okay, below. I don't. I won't. I will get XRP instead. I'm going to pray for Peter every time he remembers he could have brought Bitcoin for $30. He kicks his dog. He feels like a loser. Can I change my answer, please? Just had a moment to think. Yes, go for it, Ivan. What's your new answer? Of course, but that's never gonna happen. Yes, never gonna happen. Facts. It won't even go below 40,000. Yeah, that's true as well. BTC. Yeah, it will never go. I mean, there's a possibility of if Michael's, which is never gonna happen. Again, never gonna happen. Regarding BTC going to 5,000, never gonna happen. That would mean essentially that Michael Saylor is going to drop his entire bag, BlackRock will drop their entire bag, Fidelity will drop their entire bag, and every other massive boy will drop their entire bag for a crazy manipulation. Chance of that being coordinated, 0%. So it's never going to happen. But, Peter can dream on regarding low price points of Bitcoin. Peter can definitely dream on if he wants to. Hello, Miles. Lena, good to see you as well. How you doing? I think I would know the reason behind why I dumped to that before making my decision. Good, fair point. Maybe Peter will buy some if it goes down to 5,000. Knowing Peter, he'll still say it's going to go to 0 at 5,000. Now, next news to go on essentially through tonight's live show is this. I'm late for class again. Apologies. No problem, Lena. Good to see you. And at the end of the live show, I'll go through everything we talked about as well for Lena and some other few members essentially tuned in a little bit late as well. Would you buy it if it dropped to that low? No. Maybe. No. Because if that drops to that low, then think about everything else. Think about if BTC drops ever that low, then think about, XRP, XLM, XDC, everything else that's going to be dropping to the ground as well. That'd be a better one to go for. Now, to go through the next part of this news. Bitcoin is the only crypto asset that will get SEC approval for ETFs. Michael Saylor. Bitcoin will be the only digital asset that trades on American stock essentially exchanges via exchange-traded funds, ETFs, according to the prominent founder of the software company MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy's essentially CEO. Do you see me on X? Yes. Below, I see you on X. You're inside the comment section right now. MicroStrategy's CEO made a very, very bold statement, and it said that the only cryptocurrency ETF that's ever going to be approved and is approved is Bitcoin on the American exchanges. He said that Ethereum or anybody else, never going to happen, is what Michael Saylor said. The founder of MicroStrategy company. In its essentially quarterly earnings call for 2024, MicroStrategy founder and executive chairman Michael Saylor said that it's pretty clear that Bitcoin is the only crypto asset that's going to be approved for sale in a form of a spot ETF inside the United States. The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, gave the green light to 11 spot Bitcoin ETFs in January after 10 years of denying such a product. The investment vehicle allows people to buy shares via brokerage accounts that tracks the underlying asset of the cryptocurrency. Now, a number of high-profile asset managers are hoping to get approval from the SEC for spot Ethereum ETFs. BlackRock, Fidelity, and Grayscale are just some of the big names who have filed their paperwork with the Wall Street regulator. But industry analysts are not bullish about such a product getting approval by the SEC. By the May deadline, and even less so now, after Ethereum software company Consors last week sued the SEC, alleging that it considered Ethereum as a security, Michael Saylor, said in his earnings call yesterday that Bitcoin is one crypto asset that publicly traded company can hold on its balance sheets and can capitalize upon. It's the only asset. It's the one crypto asset that Wall Street firms are going to be able to sell on a spot ETF basis, the MicroStrategy executive chairman said. The entire modern, these are the exact words he's been using. The entire modern institutional asset economy, the options market, the securities market, the money management system, the institutional mutual funds, the institutional ETFs, they're all going to be centered around Bitcoin as the only digital property going forward, he added. MicroStrategy, which sells data analyzing softwares, has been buying Bitcoin since 2020. It argues that the biggest digital coin by market cap is a good investment and gets better runs for shareholders over cash, which loses purchasing power. On Monday, the Tyson, Virginia-based company announced that it had bought more Bitcoin and now holds 214,400 coins, worth over $13 billion at today's price. Okay, now going on the perspectives of Michael Saylor saying, BTC is going to be the only ETF ever approved inside the United States. Nobody else will get approved going forward. No, it's definitely not going to be the case in any sort of way. I've said this before to everybody. And it seems like it doesn't matter what level you're at, but a lot of people need to hear it. It doesn't matter if you're extremely wealthy. It doesn't matter if you're not wealthy, if you're lower class, middle class, upper class, or upper class, if you're somebody like Michael Saylor. But this is something that a lot of people need to hear. You need to stop treating crypto assets as if it's a religion or a football team. It's just some digits on a screen. That's all it is. It's just some digits on a screen. You need to stop treating crypto assets like it's a football team or a religion of some sort, and it's just digits on a screen. So, honestly, it doesn't matter if you're lower class, middle class, upper class. You need to hear this. And to put it in perspective, Michael Saylor is an incredibly intelligent person. Not taking that away from him, he's an incredibly intelligent person. He's an incredibly wealthy person. He's made some good calls in his life, and he's made some bad calls on his business prospects. And also, just to put in perspective, he did, hate on Bitcoin as well at the beginning days. At the early days, he was against Bitcoin. He thought it was one massive bubble that's going to burst and go away. And now look at him. He owns a business. Essentially, he owns a business that he's turned into a Bitcoin business. He turned his entire company into a Bitcoin company. A guy that hated the idea of Bitcoin and thought it was a bubble that was going to burst. He went from hating Bitcoin to doing a complete 360 and turning his entire company into a Bitcoin company. So, believe me, somewhere down the line, Michael Saylor is going to regret his words again, because Michael Saylor regretted his words once when he hated on Bitcoin, and now he's massively into Bitcoin, and MicroStrategy is a Bitcoin company. And once again, he's going to hate his words, what he said now, regarding Bitcoin is going to be the only ETF, because it's the only asset that matters. He's going to hate using, he's going to be proven wrong again. But again, I'm not taking away from him. He's an incredibly intelligent man. Michael, incredibly intelligent man, incredibly wealthy man. He's made some good calls in his life and some bad calls in his life. But he has been proven wrong because he hated Bitcoin and now he owns a Bitcoin company. And now he's made this statement. And he's going to take this statement back when the time is right. And I would still listen to Michael Saylor. Even though after him making this statement, I would still listen to Michael Saylor on what his next movements are going to be in the markets. Definitely. Because, as I said, he's an incredibly intelligent person. Sometimes, good people make bad calls. But he's also made a lot of good calls in business. Nobody's perfect. So, going on to the next news we're going to talk about is regarding Sui partners with Google. Google Cloud and Sui partner is the next news we're going to be going for on tonight's live show. But before we do that, let's go to the comment section. Now, the comment section is... Here we go. Thank you. No problem. Any time. Do you see me on X? Yes, I do. Below, I see you on X. Let's cook here as well. Let's go below. XRP, XLM all day is what Ian said. I think Brad has different ideas about that, is what Shelly said. Yes, regarding the other ETFs, yes. When in 2025 will banks in Japan use XRP? Because it's true that all banks of Japan are going to use XRP. Yes, well, not all, but SBI Holdings. Any banks that are affiliated with SBI Holdings are going to be using it. Miles, do you see adoption happening before stablecoin in it and the play and regulations when the case ends? Well, regulations are tightening day by day. This case between Ripple versus SEC is going to end this year. There's not much to go on. For people who want BTC, but because it is too high and they cannot afford it, ETH is a good choice, because if BTC reaches 1 million, ETH will reach 50,000 plus for sure. Ethereum is here to stay. ETF coming soon is what Chilzone said. I believe so as well. Regarding the ETF for Ethereum, definitely coming soon. This world will be speechless. Tell the Miles. Let's go Dazzle. Facts. We're holding some assets. Yes. If BTC dropped drastically, I would purchase so much XRP, XDC, XLM, ACH, and I would be a millionaire in waiting. Let's go Scott. Facts. Let's go Dazzle. XRP is the real Madrid of crypto. I don't have a class lol. Miles, do you see XRP at this price the next 10 days? Do I see XRP sitting at this price the next 10 days? Why? Do you think something major is going to be happening next 10 days? Are you referring to May 6th? Is that what you're referring to? We'll have to see what happens. I hated Lamborghinis, but I have to know, but I have to know, lol, kidding. Now, yeah, to like them. Who would have thought 20 years ago you would be able to make money out of water that would pay tax for clean air, or we would invest in something we will never see, hold, or touch? Facts. What Iman just said. Who knew 20 years ago people would be investing into things that they can't see or touch or hold and so on? Fair point. Even if I was in CMF, Pierce, good to see you. How you doing? I love what you said as an example of football, time, and religion. Yeah, honestly. No, I'm asking because I want to buy more, but have to wait to my payments. Okay. The market is so shaky. Don't cost average into it, but obviously not financial advice. And that's why I asked. Will XRP be the price next 10 days? Yeah, it'll be the same price next 10 days. Should be good on the same price. Now, same price. Most likely going to be on the same price. Maybe 1-2 pence difference. Now, Sui. Unless something major happens on May 6th. But Sui partners with Google Cloud to enhance Web3 and AI initiatives. Sui Network and Google Cloud are emerging forces to propel Web3 innovation. In an official statement, key initiatives of the merger were brought attention to Sui's price. Slips at price time. Sui, the layer 1 blockchain and smart contract platform, has made a groundbreaking move in its partnership with Google Cloud. The Strategic Alliance, which has sparked widespread interest sees the Layer 1 and Google Cloud teaming up to drive global Web3 innovation. Riding along the collaborative efforts of Miston Labs, Sui's collaboration with Google Cloud aims to enhance security, scalability, and AI capabilities across a range of Web3 and AI-powered applications. Sui, the native token of Sui blockchain, further reflects hope for substantial rebound and price with the merger between the two entities weighing in. A closer look into Sui's collaboration with Google Cloud. An official statement released today, April 30th, Google Cloud drew vital attention to key initiatives. The merger brings these included data-driven dApps, AI-enhanced developments, offering seamless user experiences, and a robust and scalable infrastructure. Let's delve deeper into these initiatives. Data-driven dApps. Google Cloud is stepping up its commitment to bolstering Sui's development by Sui blockchain data into BigQuery public databases. This offers developers robust analytic tools, streamlining fresh insights and groundbreaking dApp possibilities. AI-enhanced developments. Meanwhile, Sui trained Google Cloud's generative AI platform, Vertex AI, on the Move programming language to essentially aid Web3 developers in debugging aggregated code generation. Mr. Labs, the developer of Sui, created a new AI-based code auditing tools using Google Cloud's AI's essentially and cloud capabilities. This tool identifies security vulnerabilities in Rust, Move, TypeScripts, and solidifies promptly, enabling security efforts to weed out and essentially improve vulnerable codes. Streaming user experience. Sui's ZK login technology is a notable demonstration of what the collaboration essentially could potentially offer to the community, bridging essentially the gap between some traditional Web 2 and decentralized Web 3 applications. The merger between Sui and Google underscores an understatement commitment to offering a seamless user experience, facilitating a robust and scalable infrastructure. Additionally, Sui harnessed Google Cloud's globally scalable infrastructure to forfeit its network securities and high transactions through output. The integration further essentially guarantees exceptional performance and effortless scalabilities. Collectively, development and endeavors mentioned in the announcement fueled immense optimism among crypto market participants surrounding Sui's cryptographic ventures. This is what they said regarding Sui. Collaborating with Google Cloud helps us propel the development of secure, scalable, and user-centric Web3 experiences. Even Cheng, CEO and co-founder of Mr. Labs, said. He also went on to, and in addition, Amit, the vice president and general manager at Google Cloud, stated, "We are committed to supporting Web3 innovation with our secure cloud infrastructures and AI capabilities." As I said, by second, we're moving essentially into utility with the AI, essentially with utility regarding AI, utility regarding data, utility regarding Web3, utility regarding essentially the financial sector as well. Lot of things regarding utility. Something's going on inside the comment section. Before we go to the next news we're going to talk about on tonight's live show is regarding BlackRock. But that was massive regarding Sui and the Google Cloud's partnership. Google making a speech, Sui making a speech, going into AI, going into Web3 and data. Massive for Sui. But before we go to the next news, which we're going to talk about BlackRock Bitcoin ETF daily inflows. And the next news after that is also related to BlackRock, but their fund for their tokenization purposes, which we'll go through as well. But before we do that, let's go through the comment section. So, it's hard to not be passionate about certain projects when you see their potential. Yes, but you've got to remember, leave your emotions out of the market. I understand people want to be passionate about their crypto projects. I understand if somebody's passionate about, Bitcoin, if somebody's passionate about look, actually no, I'll take it back. I understand if you're passionate about a football team, if you're passionate about, Formula One, if you're about particular, a driver, for example, you're passionate about tennis or you're passionate about golf and so on, because they're sports and you should be passionate about them. They're sports. Or if you're passionate about a religion that you're within, I understand that too. But you shouldn't be passionate about, be passionate about the blockchain technology, yes. But don't be blindsided Because at the end of the day, this is just business. Okay, when you're watching a sport team, you're supporting a football team, American or normal football. When you're watching, a football team or Formula One or tennis, you're rooting for that person, you're rooting for that football player, rooting for that driver, and so on. Which I understand, you're really passionate about your sport. But when it comes to cryptocurrencies, don't be blindsided. Okay, it's a market, and you should definitely keep your emotions out of the market in every aspect. As I said previously, it's you need to stop treating crypto projects as if it's a football team or a religion. It's just business. It is just business at the end of the day. So keep your emotions always out of the market and you won't get wrecked. But I understand also if you want to be passionate about the technology, blockchain technology. I understand that because I'm passionate about blockchain technology as well. I own a blockchain startup company. I'm passionate about the tech. But I also understand it's business. And I shouldn't be emotional towards any sort of crypto project because it's just numbers at the end of the day. And the reason why I'm saying this is because past experience. I've seen a lot of people get wrecked for being too emotional. A lot of people. I've seen them get wrecked for being too emotional inside of the market space. And it always ends bad for them. So I'm telling you this, and I've said this as well. There's two ways you can go about it in life. There are two ways you can go about it in life. The first way is you can learn from other people's mistakes. A wise person would choose to learn from other people's mistakes. An unwise person will decide to go through the mistake. So you have to choose which side you want to be on. Do you want to be the wise person that learns from other people's mistakes? Or do you want to be the unwise person that goes through the mistake? It's always better to learn from other people's mistakes. So don't be too passionate. Be passionate about the technology. I understand. You're really passionate about blockchain technology. Yes, be passionate. Why not? But don't get blindsided. Don't mix business with emotions. It's all not to be passionate about certain projects, but when you see the potential, yeah. So you, bro, I can reply on X, but I have problems applying to folks on YouTube. I'm out of business tonight, but never missed a CMF. Let's go, Pierce. Below, let's go. Facts. Shelly, facts. Let's go. And Shelly, I understand you want to be passionate. I'm very passionate as well about a lot of projects regarding their technology, but I never get blindsided and mix both of them. Never do that. Two phones. Miles, is it possible that they delay the US elections to other time periods? Yes, there's a possibility they can delay the US elections. They can't cancel a US election. There's no chance of anybody being able to cancel a US election. Doesn't matter if any war is going on. They can't cancel a US election, even if there is a major war going on. But they can extend the time period. Only if Congress. There's an act inside. I forgot the particular act that's inside the United States. There's an act where Congress has the right, under some certain circumstances, where they can delay an election year. Under certain circumstances, under a particular act inside the United States, but on reasons of war or so on and so on, they don't have to extend it. They can still continue with the election, and they can't cancel an election either. But they can extend it. But they can extend it according to a particular law, which I forgot on top of my head. But under some circumstances, Congress can extend it. Mouse, is it possible? Yes. So it's possible, yeah. Mouse, I get the white line fever. You are preaching to the wrong person. Lol. Sorry, I'll try to take this into consideration. No problem, Shelly. I just always want the best for everybody inside the CMF. And I want everybody inside the CMF to always have a corporate mindset, because it works out always the best for you when you have a corporate mindset. You understand where to draw the line regarding business and emotions. I have a blockchain company. It's called Building Houses, lol. It's called Building Houses. Let's go. Passionate but remain professional. Yes. I'm passionate about the potential. Let's go. Shelley, better way to phrase it. So, Shelley, that's a better way to phrase it. I'm passionate about the potential. Yes, that's the best way to look at it. So now you're not essentially mixing emotions with the project name. You're mixing it with the technology, which is correct to do. Hello, Miles. Up or down or sideways? Cass, up or down or sideways? Down, sideways, up. They can suspend all elections during martial law. During martial law, but the chances of them doing it, quite slim. It's was a possibility though. Kerry is correct. There's a possibility they can do that, but chances of them martial law. Only if major havoc does break. You are so knowledgeable. Thank you for these lives. I never miss. Let's go vibe. Thanks so much for the kind words. It's under Act J4960244179. Wagon, the fish. How you doing? How you been? But yeah. Okay, now going into BlackRock news. Two-part news regarding BlackRock. One which is strange, and then one which there is money in it. And I explain what I mean by that. Now, the first one. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF daily inflow on a halt for 4 days. So basically, there has been no money entering BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF for about 4 days now. So that might seem a bit odd. There is no money, coming towards BlackRock's ETF for about 4 days now. After a 71-day streak, it came to an end. Odd. The Bitcoin BTC community is increasingly concerned about the BlackRock Spot Bitcoin Exchange Traded Fund ETF, halting inflows for several consecutive days for the first time since its launch. Seems a bit coordinated. I'll tell you why. BlackRock's iShare Bitcoin Trust, IBIT, the fastest growing spot Bitcoin ETF in the United States, has not recorded any inflows since April 24th. According to the data from IBIT's official page, the fund has held the same 274,462 bitcoins over the past 4 trading days. BlackRock's IBIT halted its 71-day inflow streak on April 24th. For 71 days, there was money entering bitcoins. For 71 days, back to back, every single day, there was money entering BlackRock's IBIT BTC ETF. But after 71 days, it stopped for 4 days, triggering some concerns, as the fund previously consistently attracted new investments daily. After starting trading with just 2,621 BTC on holdings on January 11th, IBIT, now if we do look at, zooming out, for example, if we zoom in, it's 71 days and it stopped regarding BTC ETFs. On BlackRock, it stopped. But if we zoom out, it technically is still up, 10,378%. Yes, for 4 days, it had no BTC coming into it. But if we zoom out, BlackRock's IBIT has been technically up. Still, 10,378% up. 10,378% up. It's still been, even though there's been 4 days of pretty much no Bitcoin entering it. Now, some crypto observers express concerns about IBIT's inflow halt, suggesting that such an event is not a good sign for investors. Other industry activists hinted that BlackRock's 70-day one inflow streak was rather more extraordinary than the past 4 days with zero inflows. For new Bitcoins to come in or go out of ETFs, there needs to be big enough mismatch between supply and demand, such that the market makers need to organize creation and destruction of creation units. Apollo's co-founder Thomas Farrar wrote on X on April 30th. He added, "This isn't unique to Bitcoin ETFs. This is how ETFs work in general. Most ETFs on most days will record zero inflows. BlackRock's trend of positive flows has an exception to this rule. BlackRock's zero inflow period comes aimed other ETF issuers, including the biggest seller, Grayscale. Grayscale Investments continues to see outflows from spot Bitcoin ETFs. According to data from Hold Capital, the total daily outflows from 10 spot Bitcoin ETFs in the United States amounted to 823 Bitcoins only on April 20th. As of that day, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust ETF held 297,100 and essentially 17,000 Bitcoins, down around 52% from its initial holdings on January 11th, versus BlackRock's 274,462 Bitcoins. Grayscale's GBTC currently holds only around 8% more, despite a slowdown in spot Bitcoin ETF inflows in the United States. The funds are still positive territory in terms of total holdings. Changes since the trading launch. As of April 29th, the total BTC holdings amounted to 831,000 plus BTCs, up from around 33% since January 11th, 33.1%. Seems a bit coordinated. 71 days back to back. BTC, BlackRock's BTC ETF, money enters it. 71 days back to back. 4 days stops. Something's brewing majorly. Something major is brewing. Is this the end of the Bitcoin ETFs? No. Because putting aside more countries day by day opening their doors to Bitcoin ETFs, let's just focus on BlackRock in this instance. About a week ago, BlackRock extended its reach to about 4 to 5 major institutional players, one of them being Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs, extending even more. So BlackRock extended their Bitcoin ETFs to about 5 major institutional players, American institutional players, about a week ago. So is this the end of Bitcoin ETFs? No, not at all. You see, institutions make coordinated movements. BlackRock would have never made a coordinated movement like that if they were going to come to a halt for a lifetime. So it's nowhere near the end. This seems a bit slightly coordinated on zero inflows, 4 days. 71 streak comes to an end, 4 days of no inflows. Slightly coordinated. BlackRock would have never extended their reach to 5 institutional players, knowing that that 4-day halt was on the way. Something's brewing majorly. Now, if you think, this is, the end or whatever, and BlackRock is done for regarding the crypto sector, let's look at it from a different perspective. BlackRock's Build Fund surpasses $375 million. So BlackRock is still getting inflows on their Build Fund. BlackRock's Build Fund has recently marked a significant milestone by surpassing $375 million in managed assets, outperforming Franklin Templeton's FOBXX fund in the process. This achievement highlights BlackRock's increasing dominance in the crypto asset market, particularly in the realm of on-chain investment funds. The Build Fund's strategy and its implementations on the market are noteworthy, as they demonstrate institutional investors' growing interest and confidence in crypto assets. Growing interest and investment assets and confidence in crypto assets. So BlackRock is still heavily into the crypto markets. They're breaking new milestones on their Build Fund. What drives Build Fund's success? The Build Fund's impressive performance is supported by its investment strategy, which involves allocating at least 99.5% of its assets in a secure government securities, cash, and fully collateralized repo transactions. Such a strategy not only aims to protect capital and ensure liquidity, but it also strives to maintain a stable share price. This approach has attracted significant attention and investment, contributing to the fund's rapid growth and solid market positions. How is BlackRock reinforcing its market position? In addition to the Build Fund, BlackRock has been actively expanding its influence through other significant ventures, including the launch of that BlackRock ETF they have, the IBIT. Starting strong with initial $10 billion in managed assets, IBIT has continued to perform well, generating substantial returns. These initiatives reflects BlackRock's strategic moves to cement its leadership in the financial sector, particularly within the burgeoning field of crypto assets. Key insights for users. The build fund's investment in strategy is a reliable indicator for essentially potential investors about the safety and profitability investing in crypto assets through secure channels. BlackRock's ongoing success and expansion into the crypto signifies a solidifying of institutional interest and investments in this sector. The performance of funds built could potentially forecast the trends in the broader crypto market, making it a significant marker for future investments. The trajectory of BlackRock's built fund underscores a pivotal shift in investment patterns towards crypto asset managed by major financial institutions as the fund continues to gain momentum. It will be intriguing to see how this influences the overall dynamics of the cryptocurrency market. With BlackRock leading the charge, the future looks promising for institutional engagements in the cryptocurrency investments. Yeah, the 4-day halt after a 71-day streak on BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, the 4-day halt seems slightly coordinated. And with BlackRock extending their reach on their BTC ETFs about a week before, to 5 major institutional players, one of them being Goldman Sachs. It's an odd move to do if you're going to come to a 4-day halt. Something's brewing. Something majorly is brewing inside the institutional side. And BlackRock, in general, is always about 1,000 steps ahead of the retail section. But something major is very brewing inside the markets right now because of BlackRock doing this. Let's go to the comment section. Why is it so bullish regarding Japan? Everyone talking about it on X. Well, because SBI Holdings is massive player. SBI Holdings is a massive player, and it's going to help them very well. Miles, I thought we are at BTC halving. How come BTC is down as well as the rest of the coins? I thought BTC halving. How come BTC is down as well as the rest of the coins? We're not majorly down. We're a little bit down, but there were 2 outcomes on the table, but not majorly down. Riot seizures under Biden could move things along by their design. Yes, true. So they are waiting for continued manipulate further dump then? No. That's an outcome on the table. But I don't think so, no. Because if we have a major dump, it doesn't work out in favor of BlackRock. If we have a major dump, it's not going to work out in the favor of BlackRock in any sort of way. Also, because the institutions are holding, you see BlackRock's fund didn't change. BlackRock still has the same amount that they had. Okay, BlackRock for 4 days have had the exact same amount. So the example I'm going to be giving is what BlackRock has. So BlackRock is holding. So BlackRock was holding 274,000 plus individual Bitcoins. For the 4 days that they had pretty much no money entering them, there was no sell-offs either. They were still holding 274,000 plus exactly on the dot. So they're holding the exact same amounts. For the 4 days, there was no money coming in, but there was also no money exiting. They were still holding the exact amount of Bitcoins. So there was no sell-offs from BlackRock, no sell-offs. So it can't be if they do a major dump, it will hurt BlackRock. It would hurt the fidelity. It would hurt everybody else that's holding Bitcoin too much on their portfolios. Also, MicroStrategy made a recent purchase in April of $12.7 million. MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor is an incredibly intelligent man, as I said before. He's an incredibly intelligent man, and he made his recent purchase was around $12.7 million on buying BTC, again, in April, at these prices. He would have anticipated a major dump as well. But he still went for it at these prices. So I don't think a major dump is on the way. But I think they'll make it look like a major dump for an actual pump. That's what I think is actually happening. I think they're going to make it look like a major dump from every angle, but it's actually brewing for a major pump. Because it's odd. They extended their reach to 5 major institutional players. Goldman Sachs and everybody else. And I read out the news on this live show as well. Goldman Sachs and Vanguard and everybody else was a part of it. 5 major institutional players entered the race with BlackRock regarding their Bitcoin, IBIT. Why would BlackRock do that? Then BlackRock extended their reach to Brazil, then extended their reach to India on their IBIT. They've done all these movements for what? For a halt and complete stop or a major dump? No. It's going to hurt their portfolio too much if they do that. It's also going to damage the portfolio of Fidelity, Goldman Sachs, and everybody else is holding Bitcoin, essentially. So I think they're going to make it look like, and again, Michael Saylor would have never made that recent purchase. He made a recent purchase of millions of dollars of buying Bitcoin in April. He would have never made that recent purchase if he anticipated a dump coming either as well. He's a very intelligent man, very powerful man as well, very wealthy man. He could have anticipated a major dump coming from institutions. He's inside the institutional game. He's inside the corporate sector. He could have seen that dump coming, but he still went for the purchase. So I think they're going to make it look like a major dump is on the way, but it's actually brewing for a major pump. Where every indication will say dump, 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 but in reality it's going to be pump. But so far we haven't had, and also just to put in perspective, even though BlackRock's came to a halt, Fidelity still has inflows coming in. The rest of the Bitcoin ETFs had inflows coming in. It's just BlackRock for the 4 days. That's what's odd as well. The rest of the Bitcoin ETFs have all had inflows coming in slightly. Not for 4 days halt like BlackRock. BlackRock's the only one that had a 4-day halt. The rest of them had money coming in. Some of them had a halt for 1 day or 2 days, but after that they had money coming in. BlackRock was the only one that essentially had a halt for 4 days back to back. So there you continue. So are they waiting for a continuing million for the dump? Then what do you think is going to happen? That's what I think is going to happen. It's only 1 day's flow and then 4 days nothing. That looks like for me like a spiritual numbers. No joke. That's what I meant. Yep. Pump for Bitcoin only? No, I think pump for all. When do you think that crash? Well, I'm saying the crash won't now. I'm saying, look, right now we haven't had major. Good night, Miles of CMF. Thank you for the news. You're the best. JP, let's go. JPC tomorrow sometime as usual. So far, we haven't had a major dump. That's all. I mean, a major dump is minus 20%, minus 30%, minus 40%. But we'll weigh in Eric's opinion again. We'll weigh in Nicholas's opinion. I just stopped buying from BlackRock for the last 4 days. That's all. No, I just stopped buying from BlackRock for the last 4 days. That's all. Let's go, JP, for justifying what the issue was. JP, I really appreciate it for justifying what the issue was. It was now we know what happened. JP stopped buying from BlackRock for 4 days. Thank you, JP, for sorting that out. JPC tomorrow, but at the same time as usual. And we're still good. Don't worry about it. We're still good inside the market space. We're still going to weigh up 2 outcomes of Eric and Nicholas. But something's brewing majorly on the upside. Good night, Miles of CMF. Mike, see you tomorrow as usual as well. Okay, this live show has also come to an end as well. So, 124, yeah. Good night, Miles of CMF. Mike, see you tomorrow as usual as well. JP, let's go. Do you have a higher fee? Do they have a higher fee? No, their fee is relatively the same. Their fee is relatively the same. JP, what you stopped buying from BlackRock, can you put it into XRP? Lol. Let's go, Shelly. Pump it, JP. Let's go, Shelly. We also have come to the endings of this live show as well. I just want to say, honestly, absolutely amazing. Thank you so much to everybody that was tuning into tonight's live show. If you're new, you're watching this live show as well, welcome to the CMF live show. I do this live show every single night. We talk about, recent news that's happening inside the crypto markets. We talk about CBDCs, blockchain in general, and the financial markets in general. And we talk about how the world's shifting into a digital era every single night. This was episode 43 of the CMF live show. So do you think that the dump come into the market only a pump? So you don't think that the dump come into the market only a pump? We're in a slight dump, but we're not in a major dump. That's why I'm waiting. I'm going to start pumping it in the next couple of days. Lol. Let's go, JP. But no, also the Bitcoin ETF situation in Hong Kong in about 2 weeks is going to materialize the market and push it up. Thank you for another brilliant live stream. Let's go, Thomas. They are good at fooling the market institutions. I mean, yes, the institutions are very good at fooling the markets. Definitely. Billow's on the crash again, lol. Billow's on the crash again, lol. I am aiming for 50 euro XRP this year. Let's go, Billow. So, we have come to the endings of this live show. I just want to say, honestly, thank you so much to everybody that's been tuning into this live show from the CMF. And if you're new, you're watching this live show for the first time ever, if you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like, tune into this live show every single night. This has been episode 43 of the CMF live show. We're always live on YouTube and X at the exact same time. As you can see, the comment section is mixed. So, I'm going to be doing the outro of this live show now, which is Miles, the XRP news. Yes, sorry about that. The XRP news essentially was SBI Holdings. So the XRP news that I read out, I'll give you the gist at the beginning of the live show. So at the beginning of the live show, I read out the news regarding Ripple signs SBI Holdings hashkey to launch XRP in Japan. SBI Group is set to become the first Japanese corporation to implement XRP Ledger blockchain solutions for supply chain management. The alliance comes as Ripple expands the use of essentially enterprise blockchain solutions in Japan. Separately, Ripple has teamed up with the Tokyo-based consulting firm Hashdex to lead the rollout of the XRP Ledger enterprise solutions in Japan. The partnership will also involve SBI Ripple Asia, a joint venture between SBI Holdings and Ripple, which will focus on developing supply chain finance solutions using the XRP Ledger. And that SBI Holdings has access to about 4,000 registered companies. 4,000 registered companies, 4,300 suppliers, and about $7 billion in trades, finance, nearly $3 billion in transactions, which in general is massive. So, we have come to the endings of this live show as well. Again, I'm aiming for 50. Let's go. Dump like XRP or 40 below. Or not that low. A little bit low, but not that low. Miles, XRP news, that's XRP news. My focus are on the following: XRP, XM, XDC. Yes. Whenever you're uncertain about market movements and whenever financial institutions are manipulating the markets, right now, as they are, dollar cost average is always the best method when you're unsure. Good night, brother Miles and CMF. Bill, I'll see you tomorrow, sometimes usual as well. If you put them all together, Miles is literally nearly 400 TikTok on X. Let's go. Good night, Miles and family. Have a good one. Ian, see you tomorrow, sometimes usual, brother. Good night, Miles. Episode 43 on YouTube. Yeah, it should be. No, episode 43 was continuing on X, so it's on YouTube as well. Thanks, Joe's, no problem. Thanks, Miles. Lots of interesting things to think about tonight's show. Great live. Bye, everyone. Shelly, let's go. Shelly, see you tomorrow sometime as usual. Good night to all CMF. See you all tomorrow. Emon, see you tomorrow. Good night, everyone. See you tomorrow. Orphan, see you tomorrow as usual. Have a great day, Shelly, is what Ian has said. What is happening with Ripple and the SEC case? Are they trying to reduce the lawsuit from 1.2 billion to 10 million? Yes, that's correct. That's exactly what they're doing. Thomas, let's go. Good night, Miles and CMF. Coin, see you tomorrow sometime as usual. 3.14 followers on YouTube now, Miles. SAC might be right. 10K by the end of May. Let's go. Good night, Miles. See you. See you tomorrow sometime as usual. Thomas, let's go. I haven't checked. Let's go. I'm on 3,114 like 3,140 40 subscribers. That's amazing on YouTube. Let's go. So, CMF, we have come to the endings of this live show. Sweet dreams to you all. Miles, thanks, you lords. 12,134 likes. Lena, genuinely mean it. Thank you so much. Lena, honestly, thank you so much for every single night on the X live shows for incredible amount of likes. And tonight, you've given me 12,134 likes, which is absolutely amazing. Lena, thank you so much for all those likes. Genuinely mean it. It does push the live show as well. Thank you. It's so reassuring to know that we can always rely on Miles. Never misses a night, regardless. Let's go, Emon. Never. I'm always there for the CMF. And I will see everybody tomorrow. Same timing as usual at 11:25 p.m. London, UK time. If you enjoyed this live show, you're watching it for the first time, drop a follow, drop a like. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on X, we're live on both of them. I'll see everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world, CMF. And if you're new, you're watching this live show as well, tune in tomorrow, same time as usual. Let's go below. And I'll see everybody tomorrow, same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world, CMF. Great love as always. Take care, Miles and CMF. Ray, see you tomorrow, brother, same time as usual as well. Bringing out the big guns below. Let's go, Shelly. I'll see everybody tomorrow, same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. I'm on my computer tonight, Miles. I couldn't tap on the screen. Lol, I can't even find the darn emojis on this platform, but I'm getting used to it. Good night, CMF. Let's go, Stormy. Thomas, Stormy, see you tomorrow sometime as usual. Thomas, see you tomorrow sometime as usual. Ian, see you tomorrow sometime as usual. And Stormy, see you tomorrow sometime as usual. I'll see everybody tomorrow sometime as usual. CMF, see you tomorrow. Thank you, Miles. Susie.